Hello and welcome to the Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 69. I have a very special guest today, and today we are keeping the passion and love in life and partnership. Let's talk about sex, baby.
All right.
Disclaimer to our children, you may not want to listen to this one. How are you, Michael Duffy?
I'm doing great. How are you, Golden?
So good. So happy to have you on. So, ever since the first day of starting this podcast, you have said episode 69 is yours and you're going to talk about sex with me. So,
Well, I
here
think
we
we should
are.
talk about some other things so that, because otherwise it'll be a very short conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to balance it out. But we have a lot of good
All
things to
right.
say. I mean, we've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, so we've been married for a very long time. We've been married for 29 years and we've been together for 36. Is that right? I kind of lose track. 36, 37, something like that.
Hmm. I like how you
Yeah.
emphasize it. I like how you emphasize it's been a long time. Like it's been such a struggle.
No, and the reason why I say long time is because
Long.
you will attest to this. We feel like we have lived just many lifetimes, even in this lifetime together, through raising kids, through where we are now in life, and, navigating all of it. I mean, we had four children, and through those four kids, we had little ones and teenagers and just a lot of stress. And you were building a huge business, and I was home with the kids. And, sex kind of gets put on the bottom of the list, I'm sure, for a lot of people when it comes to navigating life and all the things that call to us. It's like, oh God, energetically, do I have anything left for my partner? And I have some things to say about that for sure.
I'm sure you do. But I also wanted to just say, to anybody who's listening, I think there's maybe one or two people that might listen to this one is, we're coming from a place of being in a relationship, married for a long time, and you may not be in that same situation. So we're going to try to keep it in general terms because everybody has a different situation. But we know a lot of people who are in other situations. So I think a lot of it is universal. It goes across all um, sort of situations. But just to keep in mind, where we're coming from is a place of being together with the same person for, 35 years. So that's where we're coming from. So hopefully it provides some
Yeah,
value for everybody in any situation.
absolutely. And when I met you when I was 12 and we started dating when I was 14. And, I grew up in a house where, and in a time where, sex before marriage was like a no no. Like you didn't do that. And I truly believed that I was going to wait until I was married. I really did. And it wasn't, I mean,
Wonderful.
my grandmother and my aunt were Catholic, and you and I actually ended up, being in the Catholic Church for a long time, but it wasn't really about the religion piece of it. It was just the programming. Like you don't do that until you're married. And then I met you. And I honestly never thought that I would give that to someone. Like guys were always trying to take that from me, even at a really young age. And I never thought I would do it. And then I remember, I'm going to bring this story up. You're going to kill me. I remember one of your friends telling me that you had wished upon a falling star that we would do that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to marry this man. So why should I wait? Because I know I'm going to marry him. So that's why I was like, okay, then. And I was like, what, 15 years old? I mean, that's young. I think that's a really young time to take on such a huge responsibility to someone, to each other. And yeah, do you have anything to say about that? Because you were 17, so, and you're a
I was an
guy.
older
So
man.
guys
I
are
was a
ready a
much
lot
older
earlier, I
man.
think.
Well,
An older
I
man.
just kept I kept thinking about when you were talking about your grandmother, the whole expression about, don't give away the milk for free or whatever. How's that go?
He'll never buy the cow if the milk is free.
There you go. Well,
Graham. And she was right.
Graham,
She was kind of right.
was she?
Yeah, she was
All
kind of
right.
right. I mean, we ended up having a baby out of wedlock. When I was 19, I got pregnant. And so, we had to navigate that. I'm not going to say that we were ready to have children, but we were definitely committed. We were 7 years into a relationship. But even after I got pregnant, you didn't ask me to marry you. So Graham was kind of right, I
Well, I
think.
didn't. I didn't want to be. We had a lot of friends back at that time who were getting married because they were having babies, and I didn't want to be that person who was getting married only because we were, having a baby. Because we knew we
True,
were going to do it anyway. So I didn't. I just didn't want to do it because of that. So
true.
we have one
And I
illegitimate
remember feeling
child.
that. I remember feeling that. Yeah, no. What'd you say?
No, it's all good. Nothing. It's all good. She's not illegitimate. She's great.
She is not illegitimate. And the
I
funny
know.
thing
I'm
about
just
the
kidding.
illegitimacy of like having a baby. So we had her, and then we got so tired of not being married that, or I did anyways, because I felt shame. Here I have this baby, I have a different last name than you, and so finally we were like, all right, let's just get married, and we decided to get married on Valentine's Day, which was like 10 days away. Ended up being this big hoopla and a beautiful day, and a wedding that I loved. Like it was really everything I needed it to be. But then a month later, we got pregnant with our second one. So we had two babies by the time I was 21, you were 23. And yeah, it was a lot. We were babies raising babies pretty much. But I was always thankful that we had gotten married at that time where I was like not pregnant and able to, really. I mean, it's all a programming, right? Like you have to be married to have a baby, and it feels like
Mhm.
nobody's really doing that anymore. So we're
But
vintage.
that's
We're
just
talking vintage.
but that's just the background we came from. So right or wrong, it is what it is. Here we are. We're still together,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, one of the things I oftentimes will tell people at work, you get chit chatting, and when I tell people, our short story of how we've been together, and I always make it a point just because I want to, let people know that it's possible that I've never been with another girl, like sexually or anything. So people can't believe that. They're like,
I know.
"Really? No." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like that's it." Um, so it's rare. It is rare, especially nowadays when you see all the movies and the media and the this and the that and the people have this philosophy. Well, I'm gonna have sex with as many people as I can, so that when the right one comes along, I'll know because I have so many. I've had so many partners that I'll be able to compare them all, and then when the right one comes, I'll know it's the right one. Well, what if the right one was the first one? I mean, just saying, you never know.
I mean, I think this is a great segue into just talking about the sacredness of sex, and just understanding that when, especially as a woman, and I can't speak as a man, of course, because I am not a man, but as a woman, you are allowing a man into your energetic field, and you are allowing that into your body, into your aura, into the every piece of yourself. You're allowing that man to enter you, and also everyone they have ever slept with. And when I heard that, a long time ago, I heard this, just like in the scope of even just like venereal diseases and like what you open yourself up to. But energetically, what you open yourself up to when you have a lot of sexual partners, I feel like there's more consideration that needs to take place, especially with girls and women who are possibly looking for love from lack, looking for acceptance. Maybe they had, we always talk about like the daddy relationship, and not having a strong bond with your father. And I think it's really important to understand, both as a man and a woman, that sex is a sacred act. I mean, you can take it all the way into like a meditative experience, because you're super present, you're super conscious, and you're with this person. So you really, I just think that there needs to be more consideration and more importance put on the actual act itself. And that's my soapbox for something that I probably, maybe don't even have the real the I mean, I do, because it comes through me intuitively to talk about this. And I think that you and I have always really treated sex as that, as a sacred thing that we share together. And because of that, we've kept it alive, and we've kept the passion alive, and we've been able to navigate a long relationship where that's something that is still really a big part of our lives. And I appreciate that. And I know you do. I
Right.
giggle
No,
a lot because sex is a funny conversation for me. I'm kind of a prude, if people must know.
I don't know if prude is the right word, but
What
um,
is it? Lady in the street, freak in the bed? No, I'm not.
whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's put a pause here.
I'm not.
We gotta come back.
I'm
We'll
not.
be back in 10 minutes.
I'm a
No,
nice
but
girl.
you are a nice girl. But there's a thing, and we've learned this along the way, and first of all, it has always been like that. There sometimes you know sometimes sex is sex, and you just want to have sex, and that's it. It's not about sacredness or
What
any
did
of
you
it,
What
but
did you say the other day? It's primal. Sex is primal for men.
it is primal. No, it's actually a core function of humanity. It's like reproduction is like part of your brain, and it's just built into who we are. But I think people just get wrapped up in the excitement and the how many guys can I have sex with, or how many girls can I have sex with, etc. So when you were talking about as women letting men into your energy field and everything, I think men need to be more responsible about all of it as well, because it's like well, as a guy, guys think, well, I'm just gonna bang as many girls as I can or whatever. I don't know, but I don't
Who
agree
are
with
you
that. So
talking to? Who have you been talking to? Is what I want to know.
I mean, I'm paying attention to what's going on in the world. I'm just saying, I
He's
work with
in
people. I
construction.
I know people. I know people.
Yeah.
There's the internet, but with all of it, it's like even with some of this stuff that's been going on recently in the world, in the Supreme Court and all that, it's like it's not all about the women. The men need to take responsibility for some of these things as well. It's like it's but again, going back to it's a core function. I'm just reading this little note I wrote here. It's about how it plays a role in your physical health and vitality of your body. Um, it's an immense universal force that can merge your spirit with your body, which is a connection to the divine. It's like
I
there's
got
there's like
chills. I'm tearing up. Wow.
a
Can you repeat
there's like
that?
a,
No, seriously. No, seriously. Can you please repeat that? That was amazing. Repeat that.
well, it's just that it's an immense universal force that can merge your spirit with your body. It's like a connection to the divine, and it's both an involution, which is a spirit descending, and an evolution, which is a physical ascending, meeting at the heart, um, in an explosion of pure love. So there's a moment, though, that when there's a difference, right, between having sex and making love. So,
True.
like when you're making love, there's at least a moment where you're both like you're you're like you can feel the divine energy, right?
Truth. Truth. Yeah. Yeah. For
And it's like
sure. Without a doubt.
it's kind of like sort of kind of like I've never experienced this, but like the drug addict who has that euphoria when they do heroin or whatever, and they're constantly chasing that one little tiny feeling that only lasts a moment. The
Yeah.
good news is that with when you're in a relationship and you're practicing sacredness in your sexual life, you can have access to that in a better way. So but it's amazing. It's like, so sometimes, yeah, you just, you're having a day and you're like, I just want to have sex and, help me sleep or whatever. But there's other times,
True,
there's,
true.
right? I mean, it's a
Forget
stress
about
relief.
forget about life for a while. Forget about stress for a while. Just like have that release. Absolutely.
Right? There's a lot of different aspects and functions of it, but um, in the sacredness part of it, there's that connection to the divine that if you can get to that point in your relationship, it changes everything because it's not just sex anymore. It's like a
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of, staying in a relationship long term and working through it and, fighting through it if you have to and getting through it and learning and healing and growing together as you get to this point in your marriage where it's rich and it's deep and it's healthy, and then you get the benefits of that sacred connection. I want to revisit because I've actually had my own shift in sex, and I'm sure that you are aware of this, but there's a couple reasons why, but one is I think because of the life that we've lived together, for a while I had resistance around sex. And I remember us like fighting about it. And then you would get mad and then we wouldn't, I was too tired. Then you would get mad, then my heart would start racing and nobody's sleeping, right? Like nobody's going to sleep when they're mad about not getting what they want. So I started thinking about this probably within like the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years about that resistance that women connect with because they are so giving so much energy to babies. Like babies are very physical. Maybe you're nursing, maybe there's all that stuff going on. Maybe you've got teenagers that are driving you crazy. You're just as a mother, if you are the one running the household, it's giving, giving, giving. And for you, like you're going to work, you're doing what needs to be done, there's a lot of stress in your life. For you, sex is a stress reliever. For me, it's like, oh my God, I can't give to one more person. So it's about shifting that reality of, instead of sex being something I give, it's something that we get to enjoy. It changes it. But I remember the resistance. And I was thinking about this when I was planning the show. What was that resistance about? One is energetic. So it's like I'm tapped out, I'm resentful, I'm giving to everybody, nobody's helping me, kind of a thing. And then the other thing is how the mind likes to keep you safe and the same. And like what you just said about it being a sacred act, about you being in a field of higher consciousness when you are really with someone, like really with them and really present with them, that your mind will try to keep you safe and the same and will create resistances around, I don't want to do that right now. So over the last few years, and I'm sure hormonally there's things that have changed in my body because I'm going to be 50 this year, but it's kind of been one of these like non-resistant times in our life where it's just like, why not? It's like it always feels good. You never regret it. So why do we fight it? Like when I had that realization, I definitely feel like our sex life changed. And I think our relationship changed because it wasn't you chasing me all the time or me feeling like I had to give you something that we're doing together. It's not like I think women sometimes get this idea like, oh, I have to give him sex, because he's like always needing it or asking for it. So I think there's a shift that needs to happen, especially for women, but also for men, because like one of the biggest turn ons for a woman is when a man is super helpful and they're trying to make your life easier. And you kind of have always done that when you can. When you were building your business and things were really stressful, maybe not. But, coming into the realization and making our relationship deeper and richer, there has very much been a teamwork with us that is like, how do I make this person's life easier? And I think that that lends to a really great sex life for sure.
Well, it does, and it also comes back to what I was saying earlier, where you know, men also have to take more responsibility in that area. You're talking about it almost exclusively from the female perspective, but you know, when you're like what you said was I have to give my partner sex. Well, what if you were receiving it? What if you felt like you were receiving something?
You are.
Right,
Yeah.
but if you come from this place of this is another chore, this is another task, this is something else that I have to do for somebody else. What if your partner was being putting you first? What if they were more giving and patient and that sort of thing? So I think a lot of times, you know, it's just the guy. Sex means the average length of sex is 22 seconds. I heard. So it's like the guy gets up,
Are you
does his thing,
serious?
and it's over. Yeah, it's over. It's like the
Wham,
guy does his thing, it's over. So
bam.
so the woman maybe in a lot of cases doesn't feel like they received anything. They were
No,
just
definitely
there so that he could do his thing. But
so true.
if it was more of you had patience and generosity, and you were willing to give pleasure and that sort of thing, and however long
Yeah,
it takes, that would be a different
you're good.
experience.
You're good at that for sure. There's no doubt.
So you learn through
Wow.
you
I'm,
learn through experience. You learn through experience,
I'm
though.
still, I'm
You
still
want to take a
reeling
break?
from the 22 seconds. Jesus.
Why?
Wow. I don't know. I thought it was at least like a minute. 22 seconds. Good
Well, you've
Lord.
been spoiled. You've been spoiled.
That's true. I don't like the word spoiled, by the
I
way. I
know you're
like the
right.
word worthy. You are worthy,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, all right. So, getting back to the meditative higher consciousness thing, it's all about, and I see a lot of people doing this, and I've shared this before, but just that living in business mode, like it disconnects us from our body. So it's the to do list, it's the kids, it's what we have to get done, it's the stress of the finances, it's bringing home the bacon, it's the whole thing that causes us to be in overdrive in our minds, so we're disconnected from our bodies. So it's like we're in that stress mode so much. We've got so much cortisol, so many of these hormones downloading in our body, and those are not the hormones that connect us to a feeling of wanting to have sex or being in the mood. It's like the opposite of that. So we've got to get out of the business mode. One thing that we do, I'll share just right now, I was going to share later, but we do spa night. We have a nice big bathtub. We fill up our bathtub and we just chill and we just like sit there and talk and just relax. And those are things that you can do to get out of the normal everyday. And maybe you have kids running around all night, which I highly recommend a super early bedtime for kids, like especially if you have little kids. Our kids were in bed by 7 and we rolled like that for a really long time. Now we've got teenagers, they're up all freaking night. We just lock our door, they know better. But creating those special moments together where you get out of the business mode and you're not talking about the kids so much. Or like, even if we go out on date night, a lot of times you're like, okay, let's not talk about work, because I can talk about this stuff all the time because I'm passionate about it. But like, let's just connect as people. We have date night often, and we did when our kids were little as well. And even if you don't have the finances to do it, there's ways to do it. Pack yourself a picnic. Trade babysitting with your friends. We used to do that a lot. Our friends would babysit our kids. We would babysit their kids. There's ways that you can do it beyond finances. If you're, in that struggle, we've lived that. We know how it is. But one thing I really want to touch on, because this is super important, is how important it is to stay desirable and to not let yourself go physically. And I know for women, there's a lot of beliefs out there that once I hit menopause, I'm not going to be able to lose weight. Or I know lots of women who will say, oh, I've had kids, that's why I'm fat. And I'm like, hello, I've had 4 kids. Are you kidding me? Like, your youngest is 20 years old. You can't keep using that as an excuse. Yes, your body went haywire when you had kids. Let's bring it back. So, talk a little bit about that, because you joined the gym a year ago with me. And you're rocking the bod, and that has definitely up leveled some things for us.
Has it now?
Has it?
Are you
It
there?
has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
No,
Can you hear me? Okay.
no, I know you. The screen froze there for a second, but no, I mean it's easy as we get older to say things like that. Like, well, we were just talking about it earlier. How I think for guys, it can creep up on you. You know, you think because you're not physically active. You don't go to the gym, you don't run, you don't bike, you don't do anything, and you think I'm okay, I'm fine. You know, I can look down and I can still see my toes, or I can still see my penis when I'm standing here. You know what I mean? But as the years go on, you know, you get your belly just gets a little bigger. Generally, I think we as men we get it in our gut, right? We get a little dad bod going, and it'll just creep up on you. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, and then before you know it, you're like, "What the hell?" And then it seems like it's really difficult because you've gonna let yourself go for a long time, but um, and for other reasons too. I mean, I just want to be fit and 50. It's like once I you hit 50, it's like if you don't start, it's not too late. Even and it's never
No,
too late. But I
no.
feel like for myself, I feel like if I don't do something now in my 50s, it might be too late for me. I mean, I know so many guys who have had massive heart attacks. Many of them are dead
Yep.
when they're around 53, 55, 57, whatever. Sometimes it gets guys to change their lifestyle and lose weight and start exercising, but typically they go back to their old habits because they're feeling better and they've got a little stint put in or whatever. I just didn't want to get to that. And
Yeah.
it's really not that difficult. It's like, yeah, it's hard, you know, getting up and finding time to um, you know, create that habit of going to the gym. For me, it was like if I'm going to do it, I have to do it super early, which really sucks. Like getting up at 4:30 in the morning is not my jam. I don't really love it, but it's really the only time that I'll do it because during the day, forget about it. After work, forget about it. I'm just usually too busy. I'll make up 100 excuses why I can't go. I have, you know, to do paperwork. I have to do whatever. But if you just make it a habit, get up early in the morning, and then you're done. It's like it's over with. You're done with it. And then over time, like you're not going to probably see incredible results right away, but over time, your body gets used to it. It starts to create some consistency, some momentum kicks in. You're going to eat better just because you're starting to feel better. You're not going to, you know, drink as much. You're not going to eat all that crappy food as much. And then you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start looking better. And then coming back to the conversation, your partner's going to notice. They're going to maybe if they're not already, maybe that would prompt them to you know, get in better shape. You know, and it just makes you feel better. And when you feel better, you're more confident. You just, you know, it's just good all around. So it's definitely something that is worthwhile. And it's like you don't have to get like crazy and to go into bodybuilding competitions and things. It's just being fit. I mean, being active, kayaking or hiking or mountain biking, going to the gym is great because it's especially the way we do it. It's very intense. There's weight training, there's cardio, and in just a year, I mean, I've made a significant difference. So here's the thing, though, it's easier to get fat. So you know you got to be
It's
careful. You know, I feel like if I take a week off, and it's probably in my brain, but if I take a week or two off, I'm
no,
like, oh
it's
my god, I'm
true.
getting fat.
I was
You just
talking to
feel
somebody
like
the other day and I said, yeah, you can undo 6 months of training in like 2 weeks. It feels
you
like
feel like
that,
you
right?
can. I mean, yeah, you feel like you can. It's probably it takes a little longer, but it's definitely um, easier to get fat than it is to get in shape. But you won't regret it. You know, there's
Right. And I
nothing
think
like
as a
feeling
couple,
fit.
yeah, as a couple doing this together, it's really a bonding experience. But also, if you feel more desirable, if you feel good about your body, if you feel, good in your skin, you're going to be more likely to like want to be naked in front of each other. I mean, it's obviously it's aesthetics. It's like, it's what we're looking at. It's what actually turns on those pheromones, is seeing each other and going, hey, you look damn good, right? Like, and if you're
Hmm.
not, and you're just letting yourself go, and then you're hiding yourself, and most of the time weight gain, everybody they want to blame it on age, and yes, age is definitely a factor, but the truth is weight gain is all emotional. It's emotional eating. It's not paying attention to what you're putting in your body. It's drinking too much alcohol, and it's just not moving enough, not moving your body enough. And you and I watched our grandparents, get into, my grandfather was pretty active. He golfed, he bowled. He's probably the most active older gentleman that was in my life. But my grandmother was not. She was very sedentary and she sat a lot. And your dad had his own issues with walking around and stuff. And both of us are just like, we don't ever want to be that way. We want to have our balance. We want to have vitality. We want to be able to run around with our grandkids. Like, we want to have that life force coming through us. In fact, we read a book called Younger Next Year, and it was all about, like 6 days a week in the gym, and some pretty, intense training is actually really good for you if you can, wrap your brain around that. It's not always easy. Like you said, like my alarm goes off at 4:17. I don't have a single thought about if I should or shouldn't. I just get up and go. And that alone can turn your sex life around. I really believe that, because I think people that let themselves go don't feel good about themselves. They don't really love themselves. If you're putting a bunch of shit in your body, you're not really telling yourself that you love yourself. So, how is someone else going to love you if you're not loving yourself? So, that's a big piece of, creating that really healthy relationship. I
And
wanted to
going
talk
to
about 7 year.
hold on, no,
Yeah, go
wait, I'm going
ahead.
to stop you because I want to say that, and going to the gym increases your stamina, which is going to increase that 22 seconds. So,
Let's
just
hope
saying,
so.
I'm just saying, you could double that or quadruple it, or what if it went for 22 minutes? I'm just like saying it's helpful
Hello.
to make your body fit for a lot of different reasons.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I don't know why I put the 7 year itch thing in here, but I started thinking about just when people, and this really hasn't happened to us very much, but I do remember times in my life when you were working a lot and you were super stressed, and we were doing our network marketing thing. So I was meeting with a lot of guys and things like that. And it's, the attention thing can be very attractive when you're getting attention from other people. But when you're looking outside of your marriage or your partnership for validation or passion, I think this is where people really get into trouble and lose their focus and stop giving their marriage their best. And especially if your marriage has become representative of stress, problems, when all we do is complain, try to one up each other. We used to do that, how hard our lives are. The girls were driving me nuts all day, and here you are dealing with guys driving you nuts all day, and then we're keeping score. That's not a partnership. That's not teamwork. And I think that's when people start to really move away from each other and start to look outside, and affairs happen and things like that. That's never happened to us. I'm so thankful for that. But I felt like we needed to give a little time and conversation to this, because I think always being focused on the kids, their problems, your stress of your life doesn't give way to gratitude and that deeper connection. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but I felt like we needed to kind of, give a little time to that, because I think it does happen. I don't know about this 7 year itch thing, but I do know that people can tend to move away from each other, which is what I've seen in my coaching business, instead of, towards, like, through our financial struggles. Like, if we had gotten against each other during that, like, well, you spent all the money, or you didn't make enough money, or you didn't prepare for this. Like, if we had done that, we would have fallen apart. There's no doubt about it. But because we teamed up and we said, what can we do? And how can we rise above this? And we did that twice. I think that made our marriage stronger. But I think often people do the opposite of that.
Well, I think a lot of that is is ego. It's like when you're constantly comparing and taking score and stuff. I mean, that's I don't know. I think I just gave up on that a long time ago. It's like we we both do plenty, and it's just different. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that it's any less or more stressful one way or the other. But it both people definitely have to come together with that, because if it's just one person who comes to the realization and the other person doesn't, that's a problem. But that's why ultimately, like in any relationship situation, communication is hugely important.
Hugely.
Sometimes that means arguing about it or discussing it or whatever. But um, again, we've been through all this stuff, so we're coming from that place of we've been through it and all that. But we also made a decision early on that failure was not an option. So
Yeah,
um,
we did.
so
We
that's
did.
why we
I
can
shared
now
that in an
stand
argument.
here. That's why we can stand here. I joke about it. I told this young kid who worked. He just started working for me, and him and his wife are celebrating 3 years married. They've been together for 7 or 8 years and everything, and they got a little kid and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I told my wife when we first got together that failure's not an option. I said, if she leaves me, I would kill her. No, I'm just kidding, but
You did.
that's what I said
It's
to
true.
him, and he laughed. I just say that to get a laugh out of him, but I'm like, it was never an option. It's like you fight, and all that, but
Yeah. That
I
was a
think
heat of the moment, but it made us never throw the divorce word around again. That was the last time. And we were real. I don't even know if we were married yet when you said that. I think we probably were. Oh, yeah, we were, because we had both the girls, but super early in our relationship. So we took the D word off the table. Not that D word, but we took the D word off. Like
that D
we
word's on the
never,
table every day.
it's so true. But divorce, not an option. If you're not throwing that divorce thing at each other, think about law of attraction, right? Like if you're constantly going, I want a divorce, or maybe we should get a divorce, what kind of energy are you wrapping around your relationship? You're basically, you know, law of attraction is going to give you more reasons to want to divorce this person, and you will never save your marriage if you continue to use that language. So, or to consider that as an option will always defeat all of the richness that you could actually get out of the marriage if you're just really committed and like, all right, I'm in it to win it, and we're going to talk this out, we're going to heal, we're going to figure this out together, and we're going to come to a new place. And it's not always easy, but it absolutely is worth it. I wanted to talk about some of the things that women do, and I definitely am so guilty of this in the past, where women take on, there's an imbalance in the relationship, and because women are typically the ones who are home and taking care of the home, and they could be working. I've read so many of these stories on Facebook where the mom and the dad both work full time, but it's up to the mom to take care of the kids and the dinner while the dad sits and drinks beer at night. And I'm like, oh hell no! Like, girlfriend, you need to talk about this, right? But that imbalance where women take on these, like, they become martyrs. And I remember being this way. You take care of everybody else, anytime the dad tries to do something, the mom has a complaint about it. So it's like never good enough, right? Like the dad can never do anything good enough. So then the dad gets to the point where he's like, well, I don't even feel it. It's pointless because when I do it, she complains about it. He can't win. So, when women are in these relationships and they're, feeling unlovable, they're feeling disrespected, I don't matter. This will all be reflected by their families and their husbands, and it's an invitation for them to heal. So, I have done a lot of that work, and I am definitely way less of a psycho than I used to be. And not really like being able to let things go, like that OCD, like the house needs to be exactly. I remember one time you saying to me, like I'd come in and the house would be a mess because I was out for a little while and the kids left their stuff everywhere. And I'd get mad. And then I realized, oh my God, it takes me like 5 minutes to like get everything back to the way I like it without having to cause a shit storm in my house and to create a bunch of negative energy that, dictates our whole household. So I'm sure you can speak to that.
About you being a psycho?
I'm going to plug in. About me being a psycho. No, like just, like even like when you make the bed, I never say anything. Do you
Well, I
think you
don't
make
really
a
ever
good
make
bed?
that.
Let's just put this out there. Do you think
I
you do
mean,
your very best at making the bed? I'm not
no,
going to complain about that.
I
No.
usually don't make the bed because I know that you're going to remake it. So I just say, screw it.
See? That's how I screwed myself. See?
Not really. I mean, because even if
Or
I make it,
laundry. Like, you're not
no,
allowed to
no, no,
touch
no,
the
no, no,
laundry.
no, 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 no. Laundry is different because I've been banned from doing laundry. So that wasn't me. That
You
was
have.
you. You you have said you're not allowed to do laundry. I was like, okay,
Well, because you did it wrong.
I did it wrong. Right, I guess.
Because
I mean, whatever,
because we don't put the whites in with the jeans. That's why.
whatever. Just trying to help.
Sometimes I wonder if they do these things on purpose. Sometimes
No,
I
no,
wonder.
no, 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 no.
No, but as far as, just like letting shit go, I think women could probably do a better job with that and not needing things to, and not having these attitudes with men when they're not, when they're not showing up for you. Instead of getting pissed off at them and having an attitude about it, it's like have some productive communication. Like, I'm unhappy, like this isn't working, we got to become a team. I think if you say things like that, especially if it's not in the heat of the moment, which we've always said is not a teaching moment, um, I think it's much more productive. And I think men do really want to have a happier life and they want things to work more smoothly. A lot of times I think they just don't even know what to do.
Maybe they need some help.
Yeah, we all need help, don't we? I mean,
I
that's what
know,
this
but
show
I
is about.
mean, no, I think a lot of times, these programs and stuff. I mean, there are programs out there and different coaches and things for men, but a lot of times men aren't open to it for one thing, and
Or not.
secondly, they were never taught because their role models didn't know, like their dad, grandpa, whatever. So they were just
Yeah.
mimicking that behavior and those sorts of things. So, but that's no excuse. So guys need to be more responsible. That's the way I've felt about it. Like I've never been one of those guys who's like, well, when we were younger, I was very respectful of you and your body and all that. I've never been one to like disrespect women, and I think a lot of guys are just brought up that way. I know some guys who it's almost like a badge of honor. Just how
Yeah.
many girls I can get with, or I mean, I don't know. I'd rather just have one.
Yeah.
I mean, one's enough. Isn't
Well,
one enough? I mean, for
you
crying out
always say
loud,
that.
why would you want to
Maybe
have
it's
more
just,
than one?
and you don't
One
just
isn't
have one,
enough.
you have like five. Like, let's be
Well, yeah,
honest. Like
but I
the
mean,
amount of women in
I have a lot of women in my life, but just my one. You're my main squeeze. I only need one of those.
Yeah. So why do you
Like
think
these guys.
so
Go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, you go. You
I'm gonna
go,
change
Joe.
the subject. And I agree with you about these
You need
guys,
to
and I
stop
also think
shuffling
that
your
men.
papers. You need to stop shuffling your
I'm
papers because
sorry,
that's really
I'm
annoying.
shuffling my papers. I yelled at you for that, didn't I?
Yeah, you've done
I
it like
think,
four times already.
men have not been, taught to really pay attention to their emotional field, and I think a lot of that, is ignoring that emotional field and just, having that primal instinct filled all the time makes them feel like they're doing okay. And so I think that men need to get a little more vulnerable and need to actually start recognizing how they feel and talking about how they feel instead of always, just being in this primal state of making the money and watching TV all night.
Yeah, I agree with
Okay.
that. The problem is that oftentimes in certain situations when men do that, they get made fun of, and that
So
shuts them
true.
down.
So true.
That'll shut you down.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, I'm never going to say
Yeah.
that again. I'm never going to be that
Yeah.
again. Never going to open up like that again. And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's
That's
the
true.
women. It's actually the women sometimes that are making fun of them. For example, anytime I have any sort of male friendship, you make fun of me. It's like, oh, it's a bromance. It's a bromance. And it's like this whole thing. And it's like, if you get a new girlfriend, do I do that? I'm not like, ooh,
No,
what's going on here? No,
didn't know
it's
it.
always
I
like,
didn't know it
oh,
bothered
are you
you.
guys going on a date? It's like every freaking time. So now it's like, I don't want any friends. I don't have any friends because of you. I don't have any
I
friends.
had I had no idea. I had no idea.
No,
I
because
really
it's
had no
just
idea.
fun. It's funny to you, just making fun of me for wanting to have a friend.
Well, you know me. I'm lighthearted and I like to laugh
Is that
about
what it
things,
is?
but I
Yeah.
won't make
Well,
fun of you. No, see, this is communication. You're witnessing it right here, right now. This is communication. I won't do it anymore.
I
I'll
mean,
take the
it's like
word
there's
bromance
something
out of
wrong
my
with me.
vocabulary.
It's like if I want to have a guy friend, it's like, what's the problem with that?
There's nothing. I think it's great. You're the one who always says you have no friends.
The reason I have no friends is because you make fun of me every time I get a friend. So there you go.
Holy crap. This
Yeah.
conversation just went south.
So listen, I wanted to also say about
Yes.
you were talking earlier about different things you can do as a couple to kind of keep the passion alive in your relationship. And you mentioned spa nights and date nights and things. I also wanted to mention that they don't have to end with sex because they don't always end that way.
No, they don't. Yep.
They
True.
don't.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just
That's
like,
true.
hey, let's do spa night and have a bath and chat and go to sleep or whatever. It's like, so
And
just
have a
wanted to say like,
popsicle
or two popsicles maybe.
or two popsicles.
Another thing, I
It's
remember we
true.
did this one time and it was probably one of my most memorable. I think it was New Year's Eve's. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was New Year's Eve. We just had a nice little dinner. I don't know if
Mm.
it might have been this house, it might have been the last place we lived, but we just made a nice little dinner. We turned on the fireplace and some music and just turned off the lights and candlelight, you know, lit some candles and just had a nice dinner. Like we didn't
Yeah.
have to go to a fancy restaurant, and spend
No.
$400 on dinner. Maybe we had some
Yep.
wine, but it's like you buy a bottle of wine if you want to. You get maybe some nice filet if you want to treat yourself. Treat yourself, and then you just
Treat
have a nice
yourself.
dinner at home. So that's
Yeah,
like a
we've
great
definitely
way.
done
And
that.
even with little kids, you can do that. You put them to bed, pray to baby Jesus that they stay sleeping and they don't cause any trouble, and then you
True.
just have a nice night. You don't
Yep.
have to get
Yep.
crazy. You mentioned on your notes too about picnics.
Yeah. We used to have a
When
lot
was
of
the last
picnics.
when was the last time we went on a picnic,
It's been way
Yogi?
too long, boo boo. It's been way too long. It's been way too long.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have
That
done
was a
that.
Connecticut. We can do a beach picnic. I love those. We've done a beach
We've
picnic.
done those. We've done some beach
Yeah, we've done.
picnics,
Sure.
but it's
Yeah.
nice. It's an
All right.
inexpensive way
Yes.
to do something special, and because sometimes
Yep.
getting a dinner reservation and all that can be a real pain in the butt.
Ugh, especially in California for sure. All right. So let's just touch on why is it so important to keep sex alive? Why do you think it's so important?
Why?
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
I mean, obviously there's as people get older, like I don't think my grandparents were having sex, let's put it that way. They were definitely
let's
sleeping
not
in
talk
separate
about
beds.
that.
It's like well, no, 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 it's no, and I'm not trying to talk about that. I'm saying like Lucy and Ricky, right? Like the twin beds. Like eventually we just went to twin beds. But why is it important as you get older to kind of keep that, or is it important? Is it okay to just be roommates?
I mean, I guess it's okay if that's what you want, but just so you know, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the twin bed thing. I like
Are you sure?
I joke about it sometimes, but only when you're snoring heavily. No, I'm kidding. But like when
Oh,
I like I like having a warm body next to me. You're specifically your warm body next to me. I like
thank you.
waking up in the morning, you know, and reaching over and touching your face
Yeah.
and massaging your cheeks and giving your nose a
Oh.
little pinch. I like that.
Yeah.
And
I honestly think it enhances life, you know? I really think it enhances life, and it's a part of us that I think we may have to work to keep alive as hormones happen and whatever. I think it's but it bonds you to the person. It connects you. It gives you that stronger love. It always feels good. I don't know anybody who would say it doesn't. And it's one of the greatest stress relievers, I think, especially for men, but even for myself. You always say you sleep better. Um, and you both deserve to have love and pleasure. I think sometimes we forget that. You know, we lose the worthiness thing of pleasure and love and worthiness and really connecting with a person in that way. So I think it's really important. I think it's one of the keys to a long and happy, successful marriage. Would
yeah,
you
and I
agree?
want to be those. I want to be those grandparents.
What kind of grandparents?
You know, ones who have sex and everybody knows it.
We actually are very private about our sex life with our children,
We
and that's
are.
why I
Oh, I
told
didn't
them
know we
not
were
to
supposed to
listen.
go. We are
Yeah, no, they're
private, but
not.
here we're doing this. Okay. All
I
right.
know. I that was the disclaimer, and I don't really think that they're going to listen to this. I'll be surprised if they do.
And
All
they've been
right, so
warned.
we have one more thing to talk about. Oh, I have a
We
couple
do.
more things just about yeah, just about that keeping your marriage strong if you go into it with the right energy, enables worthiness. I deserve to feel good. We deserve to feel good. That spiritual higher consciousness connection, it activates that inner love of self,
Okay.
bypasses the mind and allows you to reconnect with your body, helps you live longer and stay younger because of the release of stress hormones that age you. So I had a lot to say about that.
Yeah. You read right from your
Yeah,
notes.
I did. I went right to the notes. Sometimes I do
Yeah.
that. So so the biggest and grandest way to change your relationship is to change your response to the other person. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, but changing your response to the other person requires, you to work on yourself in response to certain emotions that pop up. So, it's
Yeah.
not always it's not the other person's fault that you're responding that way. It's something
Yep.
inside of you that's causing you to respond to the way that person is, acting or whatever.
That
Um,
trigger.
yeah. So when you have, more of that inner peace, which is stuff that we've been working on for a long time. You talk about meditation and relaxation stuff, and honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore about a lot of things. It's like,
Yeah.
you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, who gives a shit? Like about certain things
Seriously.
that used to bother you, you're like, whatever.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
I don't have
Yep.
anything specifically off the top of my head, but you know what I mean? Like the things that used to just bug you and like now I'm like, whatever. So it just keeps
Yeah,
you in
like
more
when
of a
like one of the things I said was, "How can we make this not suck?" You know? And also like not pushing each other's buttons. Like one thing I know that's a hot button for you, and I work really hard at this, is not putting your stuff back because I know that drives you crazy. So
yeah,
I will intentionally use your tape measure and make sure I put it back exactly where I found it because I know, so it's about like not pushing each other's buttons and respecting what the other person might trigger the other person, and then working on that deeper stuff and going, all right, where is my stuff in this? He's pissing me off right now. What do I need to own in this situation? Because if we're always blaming, we're always in victim mode, and we're never going to be able to heal and create a better relationship.
right. Yeah,
Right on.
I definitely do that. Even at work, I do that. Like, if you're going to take something, put it
Yeah.
back. Like,
That's a big one for you.
it's a big one. It's
So
a
for
simple thing.
so
Go ahead.
It is simple. It's really simple, but most people don't. So I wanted to just get your male's perspective on this because, I shout this stuff from the rooftops as far as like healing your wounds, meditating, journaling. As far as I know, you don't journal. As far as I know, I don't even know what you do because you have your own personal relationship with your meditation practice or whatever. But like as a guy, how do you work on some of these things? Like, what's your advice to men out there as far as working on these triggers and healing these emotions so that you're not taking them out on your family? Or, I know that often you can feel like the weight of the world is on you because you've been, what, 36 years taking care of a family pretty much solely financially. I've contributed here and there, but for you, like to give advice to men out there about that game, is it really just letting shit go? Is it a mind training game? Is it meditation? I know you used to have lavender in your truck all the time that you would smell to try to chill you out. But like, what's the key to that for a guy? For women, I feel like we're emotional beings, and we are more likely, as I can see from my programs, we're more likely to go in and do the work that needs to be done. But what about guys?
Well, I think it's all of those things that you mentioned, and I do actually still have a lavender essential oil in my truck, but I will say that I haven't needed to use it as much. I used to
Nice.
use it on the daily, multiple times a day, and only because when I smell it, it kind of chills me out. But now I don't really need it as much. So, also going back to the fact that guys are less likely to do this stuff, I think, in general,
I know.
for
Yeah.
various reasons. A lot of it may be social programming and that sort of thing. But if more guys did, um, and we're okay with it, and not make it, guys tend to make fun of each other when, if I
Yeah.
were to make a comment at work about something like that, guaranteed somebody would make a snarky remark about it,
Yeah.
referring
Yeah.
to something or the other, right? Which just makes guys not
That
want to
was
do it.
so.
So, but honestly, gratitude is a big one. Just being every day, I say, I'm so grateful for the life that I have, and it doesn't mean that it's perfect and that there aren't challenges, but like, that's still great.
Yeah, it is.
Showing appreciation for the little things, telling people how you feel about them in a good way. And don't, if you're not
Yeah.
happy with someone, that's different. But like, if you're really loving on someone today, tell them, like, let them
Yeah.
know that you appreciate them. And, like when we went out with Shaylin the other night, I told her 4 or 5 times, like, I just really am so happy that you're with us. This is like really amazing. I love you so much or whatever. But then like meditation, I do meditate. It's different, like you said, but I like, I'm very intentional about certain things and my actions. Um, like even at the gym, like I tend to
So
do my
focused. So focused.
I
So
tend to do
focused.
my reps slower because I'm very focused with intentionality. So like if I know I'm doing a certain move, whatever, let's just say hammer curls or something, I'm very focused on the muscle and the movement that it's supposed to be benefiting. So it's slower, it's more intentional, and I try to do that with other things in my life too. So,
Like
you
sex.
know, well, true, yeah, more intentional.
Pretty
I
much.
have a
Pretty much.
yeah, because it's a, you're
Yeah.
there for a reason. You don't want to just like get through it as fast as possible. You want to take your time. You want to enjoy it. You want to get the most benefits for everyone involved. So there's that. But like you said, letting go of certain things. We talked about that. You get to the point where you're like, certain things don't bother you anymore. I think that comes with age, but it doesn't have to. It can be learned much earlier. Um,
Yeah.
and then, honestly, it was the Four Agreements has been a huge thing.
Mm.
Four
Huge.
Agreements
Don
is a
Miguel
great
Ruiz.
book.
Yep.
Don Miguel Luis. I can't tell you how many people that I've mentioned the book to, and then I'm also on the Facebook group for that book. How many people have said across the world the best book they've ever read, ever? Like
Mm.
it's like at the
Yeah.
top of the list for so many people. And
Agreed.
I have it printed out right here. The four agreements are just be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions and always do your best. It's like if you can do that, it's like nothing. Things are going to be a lot
Yeah.
easier. Especially the one we've been saying a lot lately is I'm doing my best. Like I'm doing my
Yeah.
best. What do you want from me? Like as long as you're
Yeah.
true to that.
And that's
Like I'm doing my
yeah, and
best.
that's a good
What can
one.
I
That's a good one for marriage and life and partnership. It's like, are you doing your best? Are you giving your best to this situation? And like 87% of my listeners are women. So I'm going to say, women, if you're in a relationship, send this to your men because I really feel like a huge part of us healing as a nation, as a society, is coming together in partnership and love. I really think that's why we're here, is to be together in a relationship and to learn from one another and grow and create more love and joy in the world. That's what's going to heal our world, not the other crap. It's focusing together. It's, making stronger bonds as a family, creating a stronger, family unit is a huge piece of just healing the world that we live in. Absolutely.
So yeah, that book has been
Sweet.
great. I would recommend that book
Yeah.
to anyone. To anyone,
We
for
have
sure.
that. We have those quotes all over our house and I love
Everywhere. I have
it.
it in my truck, in my
Yeah.
office, on the refrigerator, in my garage, just as a
We will
reminder.
do a show on it. We will do a show on it. We just need to listen to it one more time before we do it. And I got to take some notes on it. But I do think it would be valuable even to do a show on it to really dive a little deeper because those four agreements, I think we've said this before. If you've got those down, you're pretty much, your life is going to be pretty great. And I think if we can focus in that direction and help people to focus on what's important, like you said, gratitude, love, coming together, life is so much better.
So I want to read a quote that I found to you, and
All right, let's hear it.
I think you'll be you may have heard it before, but I think
Okay.
you might be surprised by who wrote this. So it says the act of sexual love should, by its very nature, be joyous, unconstrained, alive, leisurely, inventive, and full of special delight, which the,
Mm,
which the lovers have learned by experience to create for one another. Properly understood, sexual union is an expression of deep personal love and a means to the deepening, perfecting, and sanctifying of that love. When pure, sexual love can take on a quality that is sacred. Probably
wow.
don't know who it is, so I'm
That
just
was
going to tell you that was actually written by Thomas Merton, who is a monk
wow.
and a Roman Catholic priest. So I thought it was interesting coming from like a religious person like that. But Thomas Merton is a bit of a mystic
He's
and very
amazing.
wise.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
amazing. And
found
we
that
will
quote and I was
actually,
like,
I will actually add, I want to add that quote to my notes, to um my notes, because that was really beautiful. Wow, Thomas Merton. Under, and that's channeling, right? Definitely channeling, no doubt about it. Brilliant. Well, I think that
right.
quote probably is a good place to end. That was amazing. Well, thank you for being here with me, Mr. Duffy. It's always such a pleasure hanging out with you. Even though you won't sit in the same room as me, still a pleasure.
I'll sit in the same room with you.
Will you when we do a show? Because so far I haven't gotten you to do that. He
I
needs
don't
his
know. I like,
space. He needs to be in his office.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
my space.
So yeah, I just want to give a little shout out to a couple things that I'm doing. One is my creative circle, which is going really well, and you can join that at any time because it's all recorded. I have a community support group. If you're looking to write a book, paint a picture, start a business, I can help you with all of that. I love what's happening. I love the shifting of energy in that group. I'm also launching a brand new basics to the law of attraction for people that really want to understand the foundations. That I believe is going to start July 11th. That's going to be $147, and you can pay weekly if you need to. And then we are doing an M21 Revolution Challenge beginning, I believe, next Wednesday. And I don't know the date. I should know the date. And I am sure that's going to happen. So that's July 13th. So we're going to start a 21-day meditation challenge. You can find us on Facebook, M21 Revolution. Totally free group, donation-based challenge. It will help you to commit to a meditation practice that will absolutely transform your life. So thank you for being here. Thanks for
One
talking
more
about
thing.
sex with me, baby. Yes.
Let's talk about sex. One more thing. On your notes, you says, "Do you have any advice for men out there?" And I had been talking several times about how men don't like to talk, to open up, to discuss because of fear of ridicule and that sort of thing. And I just wanted to say, if there's any guys that want to say hello or reach out to me, to please do. Find me on
Nice.
Facebook or
Michael
whatever, and
Duffy.
we'll chat, and I won't make fun of you.
I
And
love
then
that.
I won't
And
tell
I
my
won't
wife
make
either
fun of you
because then
anymore.
she'll make fun of me for having new friends.
I'm not going to do that anymore. I didn't know. I didn't know I was even doing it.
Yes, you
I just like
did.
to have fun. I
No,
did. I won't
no,
anymore. I
it's all right.
promise. All
I'm
right.
not telling
Love you
you.
guys all. Thanks for being here with us.
Happy
Peace.
4th of July. Happy birthday, America.
Woo! Happy freedom, baby. Freedom's an inside job, people.